Ben Armstrong, formerly known as Bitboy, claims he's going all in on Hex and Pulsechain. And he put this video out at 3 huge announcements. He says, is this good for Pulsechain? I'm going to give you my thoughts, and I'm going to try to be as objective as I can be. But ladies and gentlemen, I got some opinions on this one.
I never thought I would do this. People are going to be shocked. And they warned me. A lot of people told me not to do this. But I'm going to do it anyways. Today, I'm going all in on Hex. Let's get it.
Can we just give a shout out for some pretty good video openings here? Give it to the guy. He's going low budget, but he's thinking about his content creation. Ben, so far, I love the opening.
Get it. Hello, Hexicans and Pulsions. And then if you leave Pulsechain, are you an expulsion?
Did he really not know it's Pulsechain? Was he just trying to leap for that joke? How can you claim you're going all in on Pulse and Pulsechain, and you haven't done enough research to know the nickname for the Pulse community investors is Pulsicans?
Pretty funny, isn't it? I want to talk to you guys today. So here's the thing, guys. I've got some really big announcements I'm about to be making for you guys. First of all, I am going to definitely, I'm going to be speaking with, I think the guy who's organizing it, I believe, speaking with him tomorrow on Monday about attending the Hex conference. I can tell you for sure I will definitely be attending the Hex conference. If I was forced to buy my own ticket, like a normal person, I would do that. My hope is maybe I get to speak or lead a panel or be on a panel, something like that. I would love to do that.
The first big announcement, he's going to attend a Hex conference. You can say what you want to about Ben Armstrong or Bitboy. You can criticize him, whatever. He's been a very big personality in this space. But it seems like you're a little bit out of touch with your audience when you're like, hey, guys, I'm going to show up at your conference. And I don't know that you're called Pulsicans, but I'm going to be at your conference, and I might actually leave a panel. At this point with his knowledge base, why in the world would anyone want him to speak directly on Hex? Go get Crypto Coffee. Go get one of those guys. And Ben, please pay your way in, for God's sakes. I know times are tough, but don't ask for someone to make a favor for you. Just pay your dues. Sit in the seat. Get a little bit of tutelage. Show that you want to be there. Then start making content. But my goodness, what is happening here? He's like, if I don't have to, if I don't get a free ticket and I have to actually pay for it like the commoners, dear God. Let's keep going.
If I remember correctly, it's a Pulsechain conference. I have more details about that. I think there's some Hex stuff rolled around it too. But Hex and Pulsechain are all obviously in the same ecosystem, different projects, not 100% same communities. Pulsechain, I just did, by the way, just did my ranking and price.
It is true. The Pulsicans and the Hexicans are not the same community, but I don't know that you could have a greater percentage of overlap in two communities anywhere else in crypto. I mean, they are almost one and the same.
Prediction for Hex and for Pulsechain. And of course, I have discovered this, I didn't know there was E-Hex and P-Hex. And
are you kidding me? Is this happening? Oh my goodness. He wants to speak at your conference, but he doesn't know the difference in E-Hex and P-Hex. Dear God in the morning. Come on, Ben, be better, do better.
Pulse and H-Pulse and Z-Pulse and all this stuff. But the point is my price predictions will just be based on the Ethereum versions for now, and then we'll see after that. But I will tell you, Hex did rank a little bit higher than Pulsechain for this bull run.
Right there, he just talked about giving price predictions on Hex and Pulsechain, and he doesn't even understand the difference in E-Hex, P-Hex, or what a Pulsican is. Get the hell out of here.
It has more potential than Hex, but I don't think for this bull run for price wise. But we'll see. We'll see. I think Pulsechain is going to spend this bull run proving it can hang with the other chains, and we'll see what happens, because I believe they can.
The only thing that's going to hold Pulsechain back in this next bull run is going to be what's going on with the SEC, possibly, if anything can hold them back. Out of every other blockchain that exists out there, and Pulsechain has, I mean, if you're objective, I know there's people who don't like Richard Hart. I know there's people who don't like the Hexagon community. But if you're objective about the technology and you like the other blockchains out there, then when you compare apples to apples, when you compare throughput speeds, when you compare the community, when you compare adoption, when you compare, what's going on the chain, when you compare possible price movement up and the tokenomics that could lead to that price movement up, and you compare, if you look at all of these things, Pulsechain checks so many of the boxes that there's no reason that Pulsechain is going to sit out a bull cycle. I'm certain if Ben is serious about going all in, he's going to realize this. I'm going to save some of my thoughts on why he made this video towards the end. I'm not trying to be terribly harsh. I do got some positive things to say, but when I saw this video, I was just staggered.
I am doing some work, hopefully it looks like, with the Pulsechain Foundation in regards to helping Richard and some of the legal stuff and get our message out about what true DeFi is. And that's what this is all about, guys. And I do want to say this. A lot of you guys who are Hexkins, you may have felt some kind of way about me. You know what? I had a pretty good relationship with the Hex community. I know there's definitely some people out there that were loud and whatever. But I always feel like, even though you guys knew that I was neutral on Hex, I feel like we always maintained a good relationship. I never said anything bad about you guys. I've actually said you guys are right up there with the Cardano community, aka Raider Gang. And also,
I mean, this feels like some weird simping for the Hex community. It just feels strange. And if I'm off base, let me know in the comments.
XRP Army. I'd say you guys have a stronger community than the Solana soldiers. It might be leadership. Maybe it's the Sultan of Solana. Speaking of the Sultan, let's check in on him real quick.
Okay, before we get to this part, there's some divisiveness inside the community a little bit between different projects. Everybody's got their favorites and that sort of thing. But as a whole, I think the community is about as unified as any community could be in crypto, including Cardano, including the XRP Army. That's my opinion. Feel free to disagree in the comments.
The Sultan comes.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward this simply because it gets a little bit long for the video. I will say this. I'm liking Ben's creativity. He's trying to be on a low budget without high production value. He's doing his best to maintain some creativity as a creator. I love that. I think you've got to admire that, at least if you're in the YouTube space as a creator yourself.
Solana lives. So as you guys can see, the Sultan, he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to get his Solana soldiers up to standard with the Hexkins. But the Hexkins have been driving a lot of conversations about DeFi for a long time now, and I think it's really interesting. And I do believe
that's 100% correct, and the Hex community does not get enough credit for that.
That as you guys are coming into my community, the Hexkins and the Pulsechain, I don't know, what do we call the Pulsechain Army? I'm not sure, but you guys can tell me that, I'm sure.
Pulsechins.
But the fact is that, we do have Bitcoin, and I want the Hexkins to know that we are going to be integrating Bitcoin into a lot of the things that we do to encourage the Hexkin Army, I guess you call it.
Okay, so here we go. Announcement number 2, they're going to somehow use Bitcoin to stimulate Hex in some way?
Called the Hexkins themselves, and people around that, to support Hex through what we're doing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be we can't partner with Hex, right? Hex is decentralized. We can't partner with Hex. We could partner with the Pulsechain Foundation. I do see that potentially happening. That hasn't been a conversation exactly that we've had yet, but I am very interested in that. But I want you guys to learn more about what Bitcoin is doing and what we're doing here at Armstrong Crypto X. And if you look down below in the description, and I'll pop a QR code on the screen. This is for our Substack. This is our Armstrong Substack. We have made some killer calls on here, and this is the second announcement. I'm going to make 3 Hex announcements today. Now, guys, one thing you can do with Hex is you can stake it. And if you didn't know, stake is also Armstrong Crypto X is powered by stake.
This is where I just literally lost it. Talk about committed to the cause or full degenerate, but that looks like a fresh tattoo. Am I wrong? This looks like he's all in on stake, but I don't know if he's all in on Hex and Pulsechain. We just got to recap so far. We're about to get to his third announcement, and then I'm going to give you my overall thoughts. But his first announcement was he's going to speak or attend with a free ticket, or he may buy his own. He's going to show up somehow for some reason in some way at the conference. That's announcement number 1, the Pulsechain conference. That is kind of related to Hex according to him, but kind of not according to him. He's more bullish on Hex, but he's showing up at the Pulsechain community. Are you getting this? The second announcement is he's going to do something with Bitcoin to help out the Hex community. That feels like just a veiled promotion for Bitcoin. The marketer in me kind of likes it, to be honest with you. But that feels like it's more about the Ben and Bitcoin than it is about Hex and Pulsechain. And we haven't got to announcement number 3 yet, but he happened to play on words, Hex stake to promote stake.us and to show us that he was really all in. My man has a freaking tattoo. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I saw this, I immediately was like, dude is going to get mad prop points if he rolls up his other arm and he has a hex or a pulse chain tattoo. And I honestly thought that might be what we were going to see. But I'll spoil it for you. That's not what you see. Let's get announcement number 3.
Second announcement I'm going to be making. We're going to commit to including one hex or pulse chain story for now, one per month in our weekly newsletter. So every single month, you guys can look forward to one story at least that's going to have something to do with the pulse chain or hex ecosystem. And I can tell you, Bitcoin, we're very interested in going multi-chain, and pulse chain being one of the ones we're on. V1, I think, is already over there, but that doesn't matter. We're on V2. V1, Ben.ETH did that. Good luck to him, whatever he does. But that doesn't have anything to do with us now. So if you are in the Hex community, our Substack's absolutely free. We do have a paid version, a paywall. I think it's about half of it's free, half of it's paywall, somewhere thereabouts. So if you want to sign up for that and get it for free so you get your Hex story, link down below in the description, QR code on the screen. Would love for you guys to sign up for the paid version. It's not very much. I think it's $45 a month, $40 a month. It's not very much, guys. I can tell you that. Anyways, guys, here's the third announcement. This is probably what I think would be the...
Hey, you know what? Maybe the Bitcoin announcement was a bonus. That wasn't one of the 3 huge announcements. Bitcoin was a bonus, I guess. Announcement number 2, they're going to write about a hex in the paid newsletter. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that's huge for Pulse? I mean, it's not bad. It just felt a little strange to me that maybe that was the announcement.
Biggest announcement for the Hex community. So,
okay, wait a minute. This is the biggest announcement for the whole Hex community.
I'm going to give you guys my plan. I want to start a Hex podcast. I think we're just going to go with Hex, understanding maybe in the subtitle, the Pulse chain and the whole ecosystem will also be included. So what I want to do is I'm behind on Hex, guys. Richard tried to tell me about it years ago. I should be a zillionaire based on Richard's, encouragement to get into Hex, and I'm not, because I was scared, because I was a little baby. And I was so afraid that if Richard was a scammer, what if he scammed? What would it do to my reputation?
Oh, the irony.
Who cares? So anyways, the point is, I'm behind on Hex. I'm behind on Pulse chain. A lot of
the most accurate phrase of the whole video.
You guys have been in this ecosystem for a long time. And so what I want to do is I actually want to take the Hex and Pulse chain community, and I want you guys to teach me how to hex. So that's the name of the podcast, Teach Me How to Hex. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have pillars of the Hex community.
Pretty good name from a marketing standpoint, Ben. Solid.
Come onto the podcast, and basically they're going to sequentially teach me how to hex. Of course, early on, I did do some sacrificing, and I did have some hex very, very, very early on. And I did sell it, unfortunately. I wish I had held on to it. I still made a pretty good bid on it. But the point is that even that process was really complicated for me. I remember using the platform, the Hex Win or whatever it's called, and I was just like, man, this is so complicated. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go in my DMs on Twitter. They're always open, by the way. You know, always send me DMs on Twitter. I want you guys to start sending me DMs for people that you think I should have on the show. Now, what I want to do is I want to get to where I know the first 10 people are going to be on. And then I want to get with the community and order them the order you think we should go in. Who's going to be able to get me the furthest? I want to build on every episode to build on the last episode. So by the end of the podcast, we're looking at dApps. We're looking at other ways to use Hex other than Pulse chain. Maybe looking at some coins that ported over to Pulse chain that are doing well, stuff like that. So we want to start with Hex and then maybe bring in some Pulse chain people down the road. So you guys go ahead and get in those DMs. Send me those. Sign up for the Ben Armstrong Substack so you don't miss your Hex newsletter. That'll come out every month, one story at least, maybe multiples. Might move it up to weekly at some point if it.
I actually think the podcast thing is a pretty good idea. Here's my overall thoughts. I like the idea of doing the podcast. I think anytime you're trying to increase education when it comes to Hex and the Pulse chain ecosystem, that's a good thing. I think what he's doing is he's attempting to build a reputation. He's from the Pulse Hex community. He's trying to niche down, shift his content a little bit with the hope of being able to build from the smaller niche and grow and expand from there. And ultimately, if I had to guess, he's probably going to expand into some of the other communities, the XRP communities, the Cardano communities, those sort of communities, and then he'll move more to general crypto is his hope, I think. It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's genuinely a good idea. The thing that I would suggest differently, I know he wants to podcast and he wants to bring people on for an interview, but I think what would be better is starting around topics, and he would need to shift his titles towards like, how did Hex go up to 10,000%, for example, or whatever the multiple was, and then start educating on some of the tokenomics. And then it's, you create a video like how one man did X or made X amount of dollars at the height of the bull run, a little known cryptocurrency. And then you're interviewing someone about how that happened. But in the process of that interview, because that would be much more topic audience friendly to a broader audience. And then in the process of crafting that content, what you would want to do is make certain that part of it was a tutorial. The challenge I have with doing a tutorial in a podcast, hopefully he's talking about a YouTube podcast, because so much of the Hex community, you really need to be able to see what's happening, to see what you're doing, to sort of demonstrate it a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be successful or not. If he creates topics, basically step one, day one, and goes from there and builds out on what Hex is and why Pulsechain was created and how do you interact with the different dApps, I think that's very, very fascinating. And then bringing on a lot of the Hex influencers that talk solely about Hex. What do you think about these announcements? Is Ben Armstrong for real, or is he leeching off the Hex community, Pulsechain community? Is this a net positive, a net negative? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. With that being said, I'll give Ben credit on having a strategic mind to try to recreate himself here. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Hopefully, he'll be better, do better. A lot of you commented on one of my videos where I talked about his retirement, and a lot of you talked about you really did appreciate him when he was at this lower production, lower tech stage in his career. And I thought it was really fascinating because I never followed any of his content at all back then. But obviously you see the guy everywhere for a long time. What do you think? Let me know. If you haven't seen the video about him retiring from his live streams, I'll make certain that I put it on the end screen. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.